Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the University of Houston Downtown's inaugural virtual town hall. We are excited to have you guys join us tonight. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the University of Houston Downtown's and make sure that you guys are as informed as possible regarding commencement and graduation. There have been a number of questions that have come over through our office, as well as the Office of the President and University Relations. So we took it upon ourselves to host a virtual town hall where we can answer as many questions that you put forth to us to answer. First and foremost, I'd like to thank our faculty, staff, and students at the University of Houston Downtown who have been through a lot the last couple of weeks as we've transitioned to online classes. We know that that has been a labor of love in transition from an in-person class to an online class. For all of our faculty who've done the work, for all of our students who are adapting, and all of our staff, we want to thank them, especially our support staff, our essential personnel. That is our police officers, our campus custodians, food services, IT personnel, who are still on campus at times throughout the day and are allowing for our building, our brick and mortar buildings to continue operations. So on behalf of the university, we want to thank you. I'd also like to thank our university president, Dr. Juan Sanchez Munoz, and our provost, Dr. Eric Link, for the support of the launch in the virtual town hall and supporting this initiative. I'd also like to talk a little bit about the new era that we are in. We find ourselves in transition in higher education, and specifically the University of Houston Downtown. With the COVID-19 and its encroachment upon the United States and specifically Texas, it is requiring universities and colleges around the world to redefine their pedagogy as well as our services that we are offering to you. So the University of Houston Downtown is committed to adapting our services to become the virtual college that you need in this time. We understand that in addition to this transition, you are going through a lot personally, as many of you have children, many of you may have experienced job loss. We want you to know that the University of Houston Downtown is here for you. We are committed to your success, and we are committed to you finishing this semester UHD strong. During this live virtual town hall, I ask that you have some patience with me, that you have some faith in the university, that you support the university, that you're empathetic, and that you do it with grace, and I'll tell you why. This is a one-man show in my home in Katy, Texas, and so we're coming through live from Zoom, and so we hope that you will understand that because of this, I can't answer the questions live in the comments below because it is a one-man show. I'm having to transition Zoom meetings as well as answer the questions that you have and time this as we go through. So thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind you that tonight we may not have all of the answers to your questions, but the University of Houston Downtown is committing to giving you the best answer possible. So we do have as much as we can provide to you in terms of your questions and getting them answered, but we may not have all of the questions for you available. Before we get started and going any further, I also want to take an opportunity to talk to the students directly and let them know that the University of Houston Downtown understands the importance of commencement and graduation. We are primarily first-generation college students, low-income and minority students, and I fit all three of those categories as a community college student who transferred to a university and can understand the importance of that moment of you walking across the stage with your family, with your mama, your papa, your abuela, your aunt, your uncle, your peepaw, your pawpaw, right? And so the university is committed to making sure that that is not canceled, that it's not gonna not happen, that it will happen. We are working through some things about the time, but we wanna make sure that you understand that regardless when it happens, we ensure that we will deliver a commencement ceremony to you because we know the importance of your hard work, your determination, your Gator grit, and we want to make sure that it's a culmination and celebrated at commencement. Therefore, as of today, we have decided to postpone commencement. We are working with some partners on identifying a date very quickly. You will hear from different people tonight who might have a different perspective to add to it. But I did want to start the night in reassuring all of our population that indeed we do have a commencement planned. We will go forth with the commencement. We have yet to determine a date because we are working with our third-party partners. Being a university in Houston, we are at the will of external facilities. We have typically used Minute Maid Park. This year, we had elected prior to this to use NRG Stadium. They are awaiting finalization of the Texans schedule for the fall. Once they have those Texans scheduled games in place, they will then contact us and we will be able to select the date. We hope that is within the next 2 to 3 weeks, and we hope to be able to make a solid date announcement. We are looking for to do this ceremony just as soon as possible, but we are still dependent upon NRG Stadium as well as the climate that we're in the global impact, the national impact, and the state impact that COVID-19 is having on us. So we are having to not only navigate the external partners, but we're also having to navigate where we are in society with the shelter in place and only essential personnel working at this point in time. So those are some of the barriers and challenges that we're having to work through as a university. Again, we ask that you have patience, faith, and support us as we navigate it, and we will release just as much information to you as we can as soon as we have it. Before we go any further, we do have our university president, Dr. Juan Sanchez Munoz, who will be joining us. Let me see if he may be ready to join us. So if you'll give me just a moment, I'm going to see if I can get him on our live stream. Dr. Munoz?
Yes.
How are you, sir?
Well, thank you for asking. How are you, Daniel?
I'm doing well, thank you. We're coming live from my home in Katy, and we are currently on Facebook hosting our virtual town hall. We thank you for joining us and participating in this, and I wanted to turn it over for you just a moment to see if you have any words of wisdom or any information you can share with our students regarding commencement, graduation, or the spring 2020 semester.
Well, I appreciate that, and I thank you for organizing this virtual town hall. I think one of the things that we have to do is continue to remain engaged with our students and bring them important information that they find relevant. And of course, that's including your Selena water bottle there. So
hey, anything for Salinas.
And I'm not, that's quite a high bar, words of wisdom, but I would like to say to our students, I hope that they're well. I hope their families are well. I hope that they continue to care for themselves and take all of the precautions possible to avoid becoming ill, that they focus on, the one point I've been making for the last few weeks with the different audiences that I'm coming across is there's very little that we can do to control this virus and control the spread of this virus beyond our own sort of personal care. But the one thing that students can control is their coursework and the completion of the semester. In this time of such fluidity and movement that things are happening, and I'm not insensitive or incognizant of the furloughs and the layoffs and the temporary suspension of work opportunities, but for the most part, many of our students have paid the majority of their tuition for the spring semester. And the one thing that they can do is, out of a sense of normalcy, focus on their education and the completion of the semester. If they're able to secure a successful completion of the semester out of this crisis, then they've really found some kind of lining to this cloud. And again, it would likely buoy their spirits and their sense of accomplishment to know, hey, I can't do much about a lot that's going on around me, but the one thing I can do is complete this semester strong and prepare myself for the summer and fall semester, because this crisis will subside. Now, one of the things that we've done out of an abundance of caution and safety is unfortunately suspend commencement. And I will tell you, you heard me say this very early on. When I first began to ask the cabinet to think about the possibility of this virus becoming a more severe threat to the state and to the city, I was very apprehensive to postpone commencement. And the reason is very simple. For so many of us who are first in our family to go to college, first in our family to pursue college, and certainly first in our family to graduate from college, the ceremony of commencement, the conclusion of our education and the beginning of a different kind of life is really important, not just to ourselves, but to our families. And so I use statements like, it would have to be a very grave environment for me to even consider postponing commencement. But we are here now in this position, and I think again in the safety of our students and their families, we've postponed. That doesn't mean cancel or not organize commencement. We postponed it, and I fully anticipate that there will be a commencement either at NRG as we planned. That would be my preference, or possibly Minute Maid if necessary, later in the summer, early in the fall. And it makes no difference to me if it takes place late August, September, October, or November. We're going to have a commencement for the students and our families that want to participate, that had to forego their commencement this spring, and then we will have our normal December commencement. So I wanted to make sure that students and their families understood that I am absolutely committed to giving them their day.
Thank you so much, Dr. Munoz. Can you talk a little bit about what support services and how the university plans to support students through this, and any words of encouragement for students who may not necessarily know exactly what to do as they transition from an in-person class to an online class?
Right. Well, I would say if you're a bit apprehensive about transitioning from a face-to-face learning environment to a virtual one, then you should then welcome to the club, because there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, across the country that have had to discover how to become proficient in an online environment. And I will say to you, I believe at UH Downtown, at UH, at A&M, at a school that you and I both care a great deal about, Texas Tech, at Sam Houston, at all of our universities, you're going to see faculty that are going to do everything in their power to be flexible, to be dynamic, to be relevant, and still present you with the content that you require in order to move forward in your academic program of study. So first of all, I think you're going to find faculty immensely flexible, immensely creative. We have all of our advisors that are available virtually and online, in some ways, perhaps more flexible hours than students may have had access to them in the past. Maybe they would have had access to them until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Now they might have access to them anytime in the evening, early in the day, on the weekend, because everyone is working asynchronously. I think that there's a number of academic services that are now available online, and we want to make sure that our students take full advantage of them. I will tell you that recently we just announced, and this is really an extraordinary speed of this policy change. We are now going to allow students the option of selecting an S or U grading option. What does that mean? It means that if you think you're going to do not as well as you would have liked and might receive a grade as an undergraduate, a grade of a C. Okay, C or better is satisfactory. You can ask for an S. D or an F. Okay, too many variables conspired for you to do the best that you could this semester in a course, and you can do it course by course. You can ask for a grade of U. This does not adversely affect your GPA. You could potentially retake the course at a future date and replace that with the letter grade, but it gives students the power and the option to decide, no, I'm doing extraordinarily well. I had an A or B going into this situation. I feel like I can pull out an A or B and I want my letter grade. Then you choose. You say, you know what, I'm not sure. I'd rather have the S or a satisfactory or unsatisfactory progress option, and students will have a window of opportunity at the end of the semester to choose that option. I think that's a wonderful opportunity. We're about to announce a few other initiatives that make it easier for students. And I plan to deliver a message tomorrow about some assistance to some students, and then other future messages in the next 2 weeks. We are looking everywhere that we can for opportunities to support our students. And I think, again, I want to say this without equivocation and very directly, there's so much of this that we cannot control. But what students can control in their lives is a successful spring semester at UH Downtown. And don't let the cost interrupt your education and further aggravate and injure your life and the lives of your family and your future, and add that to this virus. And I will say something else. Just yesterday, the Congress passed a $2 trillion stimulus aid package, okay, unprecedented, largest ever in American history. And there are significant provisions for higher education in that aid package. And I would ask students to just hang on. And I think more support will be forthcoming before the end of the spring, because what I want students to do is not just look at how I finish this spring, but how I move into a strong summer schedule and fall, and then get into the workforce and take advantage of the opportunities that are going to exist in 5 to 6 months.
Thank you so much, Dr. Munoz. I think you said it very best. You're a passionate leader. You're a great leader. We thank you so much for coming on. You have any last words of wisdom before I have to let you go? I know you have another meeting you've got to get to.
Well, thank you, Daniel. Again, I appreciate you and your team putting this together. I truly appreciate you remaining engaged with our students and making sure that they understand that we care, that we are there for them, that we are going to be there for them. I ask our students to stay close to their faculty. Our faculty are magnificent, and they understand they're going through this. I'm going through this. My family's going through this. We're all going through this, but we will get through this together. And we have to couple passion with intellect, with persistence, with resolve. And that's one thing UH Downtown and our students, faculty, and staff, and people like you, Daniel, and your team do exceedingly well. So I'll tell you, the gravity of the situation isn't lost on me, but I'm very optimistic about where we're going to come out in the future, and our students, as long as they remain engaged and focused on their education. There's nothing that a Gator can't accomplish when they set their mind to it. So I thank you. I ask you to take care of your family, our students to care for themselves and care for their families. And if you're able to, help care for those who haven't someone like you in their families and in their lives.
Thank you so much, Dr. Munoz. We appreciate hearing from you.
Thank you, Daniel. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay, so as Dr. Munoz alluded to, our faculty is one of the best group of faculty I've had the pleasure of working with, and they are extremely flexible and passionate, and they're working tremendously hard to move these courses that were originally scheduled in person to online. And with us today, we have a faculty member who will be joining us live. Her name is Dr. Krishima Murray, and she recently received tenure from the University of Houston Downtown. Dr. Murray, do you want to say hello to the audience?
Hi, welcome everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us at the last moment. I know I reached out to you late last night and thought if anybody will join us, it's Dr. Murray.
I'm happy to help.
No problem. I've got a couple of questions. We just heard from Dr. Munoz right before you. He reiterated how passionate our faculty are, how flexible they are, and how innovative they're going to be in learning this semester as we learn together with our students in a new virtual environment. But I've got a couple of questions that I'd like to ask you. Okay. What should students expect in their transition from an in-person class to an online class? Can you share a little bit about, as a faculty member, what students should expect?
Yes. So one of the many things that I've shared with my students is to first breathe. Just take a moment and breathe. We are all going through this transition together, not only as a university, but as a state, a country, a world. So just take a moment and breathe. There's no reason to be overwhelmed. A couple of key nuggets that I've shared with some of my students is remember to be dedicated to your studies. Remember, the goal here is to remain committed to learning. Consider how now more than ever, you're going to need to focus on time management and how time management and your commitment will be central to your overall success. I also share with students these key nuggets about over communication. In an email that I shared with my students this morning, I reminded them that life right now is not normal for anyone. So it is okay to not know what's going to happen, because we're all in this together. I share with students in regards to remaining focused on learning that we have to think about what's on the other side of COVID-19 and what will that look like. And so in a moment of me being transparent, I hope you all don't mind, I have to remind myself daily to remain focused on my goals and not to forget my personal motto, which is excellence is the standard and not the goal. And so while in recent weeks that motto has seemed harder to focus on, I am reminded that I have family, friends, and most importantly, my students that will rely on me to keep pushing. And that's one of the things that students have to remember, is that you need to focus on your studies and to keep pushing. Do not forget why you began at the University of Houston downtown. You, as a student transitioning from face-to-face classes where your professors may have been that daily or weekly self-motivation, you're going to have to dig a little deeper. Remember your motto, remember why you began at UHD, and just remember you need to remain checked into Blackboard, engage in your class discussions, complete assignments. That in many ways, I believe, will help us to remember some sense of what we remember to be normal. In addition, as you transition to online learning, time management will become central to your success, as well as over communicating. So remind yourself why you began at the University of Downtown. Remember that all faculty and staff, we are here to help you all get to the finish line. You will need to focus on time management and know that we're all in this together. Everyone is working overtime to make sure that you remain successful. And know that we'll all make mistakes. We'll all make mistakes.
I think that is so many good points in there. It brings a humanistic and authentic point that faculty, staff, administrators are humans. We have feelings, emotions, and are going through the exact same thing in certain situations that our students are going through. And we're thinking about what's going on globally, and it can have some impact on our daily routine. You mentioned about communicating with faculty. My second question is, how should students communicate with faculty?
As many ways as you possibly can. I always say the first thing is to communicate with your professor through Gator Mail or Blackboard Message. Gator Mail will more than likely be faster than Blackboard Message, because many faculty members, we're constantly checking our emails several times throughout the day. We are looking for students to communicate with us. And so I will say, make sure that you check your Blackboard announcements, you check your Blackboard messages, and most importantly, check your Gator Mail. Faculty will also schedule Zoom faculty office hours. We'll schedule chat sessions, and we want to hear from you. Send us an email. I had a check-in with my students last Wednesday and then again this Monday. And I said, please let me know how you're doing. No email, no message is too short. And then again this morning, I said, check in with me. Tell me how you're doing. It gives me a sense of peace as a faculty member to know that you're doing well. And I will say that for all of my colleagues, we want you to over communicate with us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Murray. I'm going to follow you on TikTok and communicate with you on TikTok. No, I'm kidding.
I'm trying to learn the dance that everybody's doing. I don't have, my rhythm is small.
Yeah, I'm trying to be Rosa. Hey, come here. We'll see if my eyelashes last that long. Okay, last question. Can you share some words of wisdom with students who are set to graduate this semester? You know, in all of their communications and emails into the registrar to marketing, they seem to be heightened and elevated with concern about this last semester, perhaps their coursework, what they're going through. Any words of wisdom that you as a tenured faculty member can share with them?
Stay excited. Remember the fervor, excitement and passion you felt when you registered for your last set of courses this past fall. And you're going to need that to take you over. Students, you will graduate this semester. Remember, you are a Gator. You have that Gator grit instilled in you, meaning that you were made for such a time as this. Do not allow your passion, do not allow your perseverance to fade away. Unlike many institutions, I will say that I am extremely proud of the University of Houston downtown because we did not cancel graduation. We postponed the ceremony because we know how important graduation, that ceremony, is not only to our families, not only to our students, but to their families, their friends, their cousins, their neighbors. This is a community event, and you are a Gator. Everyone will have an opportunity to walk across that stage. And so remember that the faculty, remember that the staff, we are all rooting for you. We are all here to help you succeed, and just keep that passion and that fire that you have, because you will walk across that stage before the year is over.
Dr. Murray, we want to thank you for coming on. You're such a passionate faculty member, a dear friend of mine, a leader at the university, and we really thank you for taking time out of your day to give some words of wisdom as a faculty member to our students. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Go Gators.
Okay, so we have heard from our president, Dr. Munoz. We have heard from our faculty member, Dr. Murray. I want to give just a little bit more of the outline for our virtual town hall. After we heard from Dr. Munoz and Dr. Murray, I'm going to try to call a colleague of mine, see if I can't get one of them on the line from our academic advising centers from one of the colleges. We'll also hear from a student, and then after that, we'll take some questions and answers that you guys have already submitted. So you guys emailed just tons and tons and tons of questions in regarding front and back here, regarding commencement and graduation. And so what we'll do is we'll hear from two other people quickly, and then I will take these questions live and begin to answer them as open and honestly as we can. Let me try and see if I can get one of my colleagues on from one of the colleges. I had a message sent to them to see if any of them could get on here right before Dr. Murray got off, and we do have one person who has joined us. Reina Romero, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing exceptionally well. Where are you? Are you in a park? Are you at a taco shop?
I am practicing social distancing. I'm sitting outside on my driveway, just looking at the birds.
From anybody else, right?
Not 6 feet. No one's around me, 6 feet around.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. I know I just sent you the message about 5 minutes ago, but I thought if anybody would be on, it would either be Reina or Ben. And you took the bait, and we're still waiting on Ben. I don't know if he's going to join us or not. But thank you so much for joining us. Do you mind if I ask a question?
No, go ahead.
Let's see. Well, I have tons. Why don't you ask me a question?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, and I'm not sure if you touched on this already. I wasn't able to log in earlier at the beginning. But, the SU option that came out for students, I know that it's already been out, an email went out. Could you explain a little how that's going to affect our graduating seniors?
So is this for Reina's knowledge, or is this because you're getting questions, or you just want to pick on Daniel and give him a tough question right from
a little of all three, but we've actually gotten a couple of questions from our students who are a little concerned about how this is going to affect them as far as grading, as far as honors, all of those areas.
So yeah, I'll go through it just a bit. I'm going to be looking down so I can read from the new policy that came out and kind of explain it. So don't mind me looking down. But yeah, the provost office announced an interim grading option, which allows students only for the spring 2020 semester to elect at the end of the term an option for a letter grade or an S or U, which is industry standard for a pass-fail, right? And so go to this website here. Hold on, I have to practice because it's actually the opposite. See, I want to say, when I'm looking at the screen, I want to say it's this way, but I'm not a weatherman. So it's this. If you go to this website here, you'll be able to actually see the interim grading policy that was developed and announced today. For undergraduate students, I'm going to give you the essence of the policy. Undergraduate students will have the option at the end of the semester, after they see a calculated letter grade with their faculty, in Blackboard, they'll be able to see that grade and determine whether they want to accept that letter grade or if they want to take an S or U for the letter grade. Students who have a C or a better in those courses, so an A, B, or C, will have the option to elect for an S. Students who have a D or an F will have an option to elect for U, which is unsatisfactory.
Right.
Regardless of which ones you take, there's no impact on your GPA. And the S does count towards hours for graduation. The U does not count for hours towards graduation, right? So individual situations may call for different situations for students to take an A, a B, a C, or an S or U. But that will be in coordination with your faculty after you see your calculated grade, right? And so what will happen is faculty will have until the end of the class to give you a calculated letter grade. And after that, then our students will meet with the faculty. They will write an email in writing to the faculty, electing whether they want an S or U. And then when faculty go in to PeopleSoft, my UHD 2.0, which is our grading portal,
right,
they'll see their grade calculated. For graduate students, a B or above gets you satisfactory. A C, D, or an F gets you an unsatisfactory. The specific dates for all of that and the impact on financial aid will be determined situation by situation. So we ask that students first visit with their academic advisors, visit with your faculty member, and also visit with with financial aid to find out how this might impact you before you elect. Does that? I mean, that's a long answer to a short question, but there's the intricate details are online where you can see actual due dates. You can see the matrix, calculate this, and how it goes forward. Does that help answer your question?
It does. It does help answer the questions that the students have been sending us, and so we'll be sure to communicate it out to all our advisors so that they're all well versed and that they can go ahead and support our students when they're making that decision at the end of the term.
Okay, and Raina, as a member of advising council, will you share this with all the other directors and assistant deans within the college about this policy? Because I'm sure they're going to have tough questions for me as well.
I will. We'll definitely share it at advising council and share with all my colleagues.
Okay, any words of wisdom to the Gator family, whether it be faculty, staff, or students?
You know, it's you know, these times we're going through, they're a little rough right now, but I think that we have a great support system for our students. I know there's several the leadership that we have at the university is very supportive of the staff and the faculty. And that in turn means that we're all supportive of our students graduating and meeting their academic goals and success. And just to remind students to stay engaged with their academic advisors, reach out to us. If you have any questions, we're available to you virtually, by phone. We got some smoke signals if you want us to do that. However it is that we can reach you, engage you, let us know. But definitely stay engaged with us and we'll get there. We'll get y'all to the end.
All righty. Thank you, Raina. Do you want to put a plug in for the college that you represent as Director of Academic Advising?
Right here, the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. So, you know, one of the best advising center at UHD.
They're all great advisors.
I'll hear about this a little bit about 5 minutes before my phone starts to send me a lot of beeps right now.
The watch is already beeping. They're going.
But thank you for entertaining our questions, Daniel. I really appreciate this in this virtual town hall that you're hosting for us.
Thank you so much, Raina.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so I didn't think Raina would ask me such a tough question from the start, but she did, and our president alluded to a little bit of it in his speech regarding the satisfactory and unsatisfactory pass-fail, whichever you'd like to call it, option that the university has elected to take this particular semester. Before we get into the intricate questions that all of the students submitted, I'd like to hear from a student. I'm going to go ahead and invite in Alan, who is a SGA representative, and he's also in the Office of Student Affairs. Alan, you're live with us. How are you?
Hey, how are you? Good.
I'm good. Do I look a lot different from the Instagram live that we did, an hour ago?
Just a little bit, just a little bit. You're looking a
Alan
lot
and
better.
I went live on his Instagram to kind of prep for this and to share on his Instagram story for students to come over. And I had just come back from a run, so I was sweaty and had gym clothes on, and I told him I had to go so I could get ready for this virtual open house. So that's what I mean by looking different. And talk to me about any questions you may have. I'm only going to give you one question because I have just a plethora of other questions that students are probably waiting for me to get to. So do you have a hot button question I can answer for you?
For sure. So what will happen to the students that ordered a class ring? And will the ring ceremony happen?
So that's a great question, Alan. Thank you so much for the question. So the answer is, I was on a call this afternoon with Greg, who is our Herf Jones representative, and the university was mandated to cancel the event because of the event being scheduled during the shelter in place. So the ring ceremony will not occur this semester. Herf Jones did indicate that the rings will be shipped to you directly. I want to read directly from my notes and make sure that I speak accurately about it. Hold on. Herf Jones will ship the college rings to you directly. They will start shipping those to you the second week of April. For all of you who ordered those and you want to update, check on the status, or get any additional information directly from Herf Jones, I'm going to give you an email address and a phone number that you can call. The email address is collegespecialist@herfjones.com. You can email them to update an address if it has changed. If you need to cancel your order, you can request a cancellation from that. In that email, you need to include your name. The University of Houston downtown needs to be in that, as well as your order number, and they will respond. There's also a phone number, let me look through my notes, that I can give you, which is 1-800-837-4235, and that phone number is available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and that's the Herf Jones customer service hotline. They'll be able to contact you directly. Unfortunately, the ceremony for this semester is canceled, but those rings will be delivered to you. I'm hoping to work with Dr. Tamez, our interim dean of students, and our president on perhaps a virtual campaign to share the moments that you get your ring. This is a big deal for so many families. I've got my ring on, so I understand exactly what that moment means to you. Unfortunately, though, the ceremony was canceled. The rings are still on their way, and we'll work to figure out virtually how we can share those experiences across social media. Does that help answer your question, Alan?
Yes, awesome. Thank you for all the information.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Alan.
All right, have a good one.
All right, you too. Okay, so the moment that you've all been waiting for, which are all of these emails that you guys have sent over, I'll just start reading from top to bottom, right? And some of these questions I won't read out loud because we already answered them. So pass fail option is, we already answered it. Pass fail again. How are we getting our class rings? We've answered that. Will cap and gown pickup be delayed as well as commencement? M. Perez is asking, will cap and gown pickup be delayed as well as commencement? So cap and gown, which is known at the University of Houston downtown now as commencement orientation, those same thing, different events. I mean, same event, different titles. Commencement orientation will be delayed, right? And so as soon as we have a date with our vendor and the location is determined and date, we will back the commencement orientation date up and announce that with plenty of time for you guys to be able to arrange to attend that. Currently, we don't have the commencement orientation date because we don't have the ceremony date, right? But as soon as we get the ceremony date plugged away and announced, we will then soon after announce cap and gown and the commencement orientation. I will tell you that we've changed just a little bit with the cap and gown. Traditionally, graduating seniors cap and gown are held at the bookstore and within the registrar's office until commencement orientation. This year, on a phone call with Herf Jones this afternoon, we have agreed as a university to let them directly mail them to you. So if you ordered online, There are two ways that you could have ordered your cap and gown, right? You could have ordered it online directly through Herff Jones, and that website that you would have used is herff.ly/UHD. If you ordered your cap and gown regalia off of that website, they will be able to ship that directly to you. It will take them 28 days to mail it to you. There is usually a $15 shipping fee that will be waived directly to you. For those of you who are still interested in participating in the ceremony with the date to be announced, there's no need to return your cap and gown. But if for whatever reason you elect not to participate in this year's ceremony and ordered from that website, then you can contact Herff Jones with the 1-800 number that I gave you earlier, the email address I gave you earlier as well, and they will work with you. What they are going to do is send all individuals who ordered online through Herff Jones directly an email within 7 days of today. And they're going to ask you two questions. They're going to ask you if you want to cancel your order at no cost, or if you want to go ahead and get your order sent to you and update your shipping address, and they will begin mailing those 28 days after you answer that email. So make sure you're checking your email. It could even go to your junk email, as they send blast emails. Some emails, the Herff Jones representative did mention could go to your junk account. So I would encourage students to check all accounts and all folders in your email account, as you could get those. If you ordered your cap and gown at the bookstore, right, which earlier today, they're estimating anywhere from 12 to 15 students ordered them from the bookstore already. So that's a very small audience. But if you did order them, we are working hand in hand with Follett Bookstore to make sure that those are delivered. They will be delivered to the bookstore on April 15th. The unfortunate thing is we don't know if on April 15th we will be allowed back on campus, if we will be in operation. So we can't tell you that you can go pick them up on April 15th or not yet. I do know that they will be delivered to UH downtown on April 15th. We're working with the bookstore. I will tell you, no student should have their cap and gown at this point, so it shouldn't be a concern. But if you do have your cap and gown and you're interested in returning it to the bookstore, they're asking you not to open them. And so that is the best advice that we have currently regarding cap and gown, commencement orientation, and any graduation regalia. Okay, let's continue on for another question. Will there be extended dates for purchasing graduation invitations? The answer is yes. Tomorrow, actually today was the last day to order your cap and gown and commencement invitations. For those of you who wait forever and don't do things on time, you are in luck, because the date will get extended, right? For those of you who are type A personalities who were on top of it and already ordered them, I did speak to the Herff Jones representative about the invitations. Because they're a printed material and already have the May 16th date on them, they will not be able to return any printed invitations that you ordered. If you do call them or contact them with that email address, they will be able to give you a 50% discount on reordering invitations. You can also put an insert into those invitations that you have that listed May 16th as a separate insert, and let them know, whoever you're sending those out to, that the date has changed. So that answers those questions there, and we'll move on to another question. Mostly about cap and gown. Okay. Done with that page. I am interested in learning more about the graduation stole that I ordered, as well as the college honor cords. How will we get those? So the Gratitude of Stole, it comes with your cap and gown. So if you ordered it through the bookstore or you ordered it through Herff Jones, those still apply. So again, if you ordered it directly through Herff Jones, you can contact them directly and they will work with you. If you order them through the bookstore, they'll be coming in April 15th, and we don't have any information right now today on when you'll be able to pick those up. Now, the college honor cords are in, they're in the registrar's office. I saw them about 2 weeks ago. We cannot distribute them at this point because none of our staff are on campus to get those. So just as soon as we're able to get back on campus and get access to those, we will figure out a way to disseminate those. I don't think we have any mailing supplies readily available to get those out to you. But I will tell you, I know that the honor cords are something very that our students are very passionate about. So we'll make way just as soon as we can to release those, adhering to the shelter in place and the social distancing rules that Harris County has put in place as well. Want to talk a little bit about the difference between graduation and commencement. We've gotten several emails regarding concern from students because we have pushed back commencement ceremony. A dear friend of mine and a colleague out there, Dr. Carmen Cuevas, if she's watching, she's the former assistant dean of the Maryland Davies College of Business, would always outline the difference between commencement and graduation very, very well. So for those students who are first generation, I know this is difficult to understand because it's a little different, but commencement, right, which is the actual graduation ceremony, which we traditionally held at Minute Maid, but are looking to hold at NRG, is a ceremony, right? It is a ceremony, a long-held tradition within higher education that recognizes students' achievement. It's a tradition that faculty, staff, administration engage in a celebration to honor their work and to acknowledge each student as they cross the stage, right? That in large part is a ceremony. It's ceremonial. It has no direct impact to graduation in terms of certification of your degree and transcript. So when the University of Houston downtown made the announcement about postponing commencement, we were flooded with questions from international students, students who are currently employed on the basis of getting a degree this semester. And in that case, you do not have anything to worry about. You will still be eligible to receive your transcript and a diploma and a letter of verification after completion of this semester if you pass, right? So we know that the faculty will be here to support you. We know that you will put in hard work and hours, so that should not delay any processing time that we have as a university to deliver the commitment of graduation, right? So I wanted to spend just a moment to talk about that, so that if you're in any concern about the impacts of us postponing commencement, you now have a better understanding of the difference between a commencement ceremony and a graduation processing of a transcript and a diploma to you. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions here. How will I get a refund for my purchase of cap and gown at the bookstore? I have not received it yet. I still have my receipt. I'm hungry and I need my money. I understand. So what I will tell you is that we don't know when the bookstore will be available to be back in operation. Not from the bookstore standpoint, but from the shelter in place, as well as the social distancing that have been put in place for Harris County. As soon as those regulations are lifted, we'll have a better indication of when the bookstore can operate. But if you have your receipt and you have not received your cap and gown, which means you have not opened it, and you're interested in receiving a refund, you will have that option. I would caution you about that because if you choose to elect to participate in the spring 2020 commencement ceremony, whenever that is, you will still need regalia to participate in that. And so it might be a best use and a judgment from your particular situation to return it and buy it later, or if you have the option to maintain it and keep it available for the later session. There was a question here from Thomas Canny. Many graduating seniors will be moving on, either to grad school, to work, or many other opportunities or obligations. Personally leaving for the Peace Corps in August, so congratulations, Thomas, and thank you for your service. Are we, as UHD, prioritizing making graduation as early as possible, or are we pushing it back to avoid worst case scenario that this pandemic lasts well into the summer? So that's a good question. I will tell you that we are trying to get this done just as soon as possible. We have a thorough plan for commencement operations and implementation. Much of that plan had been executed for this ceremony. So we're working with our partners to determine when we can do that. I want to share with you just the magnitude of commencement, right? For the University of Houston downtown, we have to rent an external facility. We have contracts with the musicians. We have contract for food. We have programs that we have to print. Got to work with the bookstore on regalia. We have to order honor cords. We have to get photographers in place. So much of this is a culmination of coordination between multiple entities that we don't necessarily have control of, but we're working hard to ensure that we get this done just as soon as possible, right? So when we get more information about the status of the country and where we are, that will help us get an indication of how soon we can get the commencement ceremony underway. Much of the planning and implementation has been done, so it's just picking a date now and ensuring that all of our vendors and all of our third-party contracts are in place and able to adhere to the new date that we select. We reached out to NRG. Again, they're waiting on a finalized texting schedule, as well as the shelter in place ending and the social distancing rules disseminating. And then at that point, they'll be able to allow us to look at dates to go ahead and fulfill our commitment to our students regarding commencement. Okay, so Thomas, I hope that helps answer your question. Let's see here. There was a question about summer. Okay, so Allison, and I can't say your last name, Allison W, student ID number, no, I'm just kidding. Allison, you say you're a senior at UHD. You graduate in summer 1 this year, so congratulations to you. You're curious if people graduating in the summer will be able to join the spring commencement due to the new date of late summer, early fall. It only makes sense to me, you, Allison, that the handful of students in your situation would be allowed to walk during the ceremony as well. So Allison's question is, typically the university does not allow for summer graduates to participate in the May ceremony. Summer graduates, so anybody graduating in any summer session this year, the university's plan was for them to graduate or to walk in the ceremony in December. So Allison's question is, now that the date for the May commencement is moved back, are we as a university going to allow our summer graduates to participate in that ceremony? I would tell you that the initial answer would be yes, but it really depends on the date, right? And so if by stretch of imagination, this clears up and we're ready to go May 1st, and we can, or the global pandemic is disseminated at best by May 1st, and we're ready, and the NRG says, hey, we're still good for May 30th, then your summer session wouldn't be complete, and we'd recommend that you stick to the December meeting ceremony. However, if it's pushed back to June, July, August, September, that makes sense for us as a university to go ahead and allow our summer students to walk. If you are in any of these situations, you can email me directly or contact me on social media, Facebook or Instagram, and we can work directly with you as a representative of the university to figure out what's best for you in your special situation, right? I have emails from students who have international people coming in, who have bought plane tickets, but again, because of the external components of all flights from different countries being halted, there are some things that are out of our control that we're not necessarily able to assist you with. Another question here is from Elizabeth. She is asking when her $50 graduation application fee will be posted to her student account. So Elizabeth is interested in paying us some money. So we will take your $50 gladly for graduation, right? But we have not processed those at this point. They should be added to your account as soon as this coming week. So you will see them eligible in your My UHD 2.0 portal, where you can pay for your application or your graduation fee. Let me get one more thorough look through my questions here and make sure that I don't have any questions that I did not answer. I think that covers almost everything that we have on our questions. So we are 7 minutes out to the very end. I want to take an opportunity to thank our IT department, Albert with our IT, Hossein and his entire team, Elisa Olson, Laura Waits and their team, Mike Emery for their support of this initiative, as well as the enrollment management team and my direct supervisor, Dr. Jimmy Young, for his support. That will conclude our virtual open house. We thank you so much for joining. We hope that you found this useful. Again, I don't know if I said it in the beginning, but I'd say it now. We are interested in hosting these in the coming weeks. The next topic we're looking at exploring is payments and financial aid and how that impacts the student with the COVID-19 situation. So on behalf of the University of Houston Downtown, my name is Daniel Villanueva. I serve as the Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management, and I thank you so much for spending an hour this evening with me. I hope I've been able to provide some glimmer of hope and support to you as students, family members, as well as some information that the university was ready to share with you at this point. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great evening.